Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen table and another one of my MOCs. And today I'm proud to present to you my Imperial heavy freighter, the Dependable. It is this year's capital ship for the channel, which has kind of become an annual thing that I build a capital ship each year as my big MOC of the year. So this is what I came up with. And the reason for me building this is that I thought that I needed a dedicated logistics freighter for my Imperial task force. Before I built the ship, the planet assault ship, the Dominant, was filling that role, being kind of a mix between a landing craft and a logistics freighter. But I thought it would be better to just have a dedicated ship for that role. And here it is. So, enough with the backstory, let's get right into the details of this massive ship. Here in the front, sticking out of the bulky body, we have a slim little bridge that has windows looking out, so you can see work unloading and offloading being done around the ship through these windows. And if we can get some light, we can see into the ship a bit as well. I wanted to have some interesting and nice angles here around the windows that I did using snot technique. Then we have a fully tiled off roof here covering the main bridge. And here we have the ship's main armament, which is a light self-defense turret. It isn't much, but this is a freighter, so it isn't supposed to pack a punch like other ships. So this turret would be mainly for fending off hostile X-wings and whatever to try and stay alive using this one. So it can spin 360 degrees and you can angle the barrels up and down. So you'd probably want to have the ship be escorted by some TIE fighters or another capital ship if you were going to use it in your task force. Then underneath the bridge we have this big fuel tank that is attached to the ship here. And it is attached using this little rail system here. So you can actually remove it and have the ship fly without it if you would like to. So the main purpose of this fuel tank is to carry all the fuel of my Imperial task force. So this thing would refuel my planet assault ship, the Dominant, the flagship, the Iniquitous, and all my TIE fighters and all that. And the neat thing with this being a bit modular is that you can remove the fuel tank and use it in a MOC or on your like clone base or Imperial base or whatever as a bit of detail. Then it rests on these little legs. And then if you want to have it on your ship, you can just reattach it by easily sliding it in underneath the bridge like this. Pretty cool. And this rail can be used for other things as well. So I'm working on some designs of other modules to put underneath the bridge here. So we'll move along the main exterior of the ship. And while designing this, it was a constant battle of trying to keep costs down to a reasonable price to build this ship while still having some nice details. So therefore we have a bit of tiling going on here along the sides and here on the top as well. We've got some details here on the side of the ship, and then we'll get back to the main engines here, these 5 heavy workhorses of engines with a nice blue tint to them, so you can see that it's pushing the ship forward slowly and steadily. I guess that the Dependable wouldn't be the fastest of ships around. And as you've probably noticed, at the back of the ship we also have these 2 massive containers, and the idea behind these containers is actually from the Rogue One sets and from the Rogue One movie, where you had these little crates that were carried by the occupier tank and all that. Here's my little mock-up using grey colors instead of orange, but yeah. So I reimagined this crate being a full-sized container instead, and this is how it turned out. I think they look rather neat being here in the back, and we'll get into the details and features of these containers because they're actually rather cool, and you'll see later on in the video what they're all about. Then here on the other side of the ship we have pretty much the same, but no main door, as you could see the outlines of here. So this is the main entrance for the ship, and the design of this door I actually stole from the UCS 8080 and how that door works on the side. So you can push this door out and then it's able to fold up fully to reveal the interior here for you guys, and where you would unload and offload all the goods and containers and stuff. And then it can just be folded down and then re-emerge as a part of the side of the ship here. So it's actually rather cool, and you'll see a bit more of that when we get into the interior of the ship. So I'm gonna have to put the camera down to remove the main plating covering the exterior of the ship. So like this, here we have the panels covering the ship, and we'll move along towards the interior of the ship. You can also just remove this whole plate here as well. So let's get into the interior of the main bridge. Here we have 3 seats, one for the main pilot, then we also have the co-pilot, which in this case is the main commander of the ship, one of my Imperial ensigns, and then you have a little passenger seat here as well, where you got some controls and some little terminals here that you can see. And here we have all the controls for the pilots. We got some here up in the roof, a little screen. See if you can see, but there's also a control panel there on the right, and then we got the main steering wheel here for the ship. If we move along back from the bridge, then we have this corridor with a stairway leading down to the first floor, and then it leads out into this open space here. Here we have a little gun rack, we have a little crate, here's a little table, and then we also have a hologram here. Let's see if we can get some light. Good. Then we have this main corridor moving through the top floor of the ship, where we have the little barracks here, where you have the crew members. This is my patrol trooper that I use for ship security. We have the main washroom with a little sink and a toilet. We have the engine controls here in the back. Sorry if it's a bit dark. There you can see the engine controls, where you control all the technical stuff of the ship. Then we have 2 officers' quarters that are a bit more detailed than the crew quarters. They have a little cupboard, a light, some details, a little chair, and a bed. So we have 2 officers' quarters, the crew quarter, and then we have the main kitchen area here behind it. I'm gonna just rotate the ship a bit for you guys so we can see into the main mess hall and kitchen area. So you enter through this little entrance, then we have this little kind of the stove where you got some cups, some cutlery and all that. A little frying pan. And then we have these little tables with some drinks. We have one of the naval crew members sitting down and eating, as well as another little table and a little cupboard here with a coffee machine and a little crate. Yeah, you can of course pull out the drawers here to the cupboard if you would like to. Haven't stored too much inside of them. So there we have the top floor of the whole build. So once again, I'm gonna have to put down the camera a bit because now we're gonna do some heavy lifting. We are going to remove the top floor of the ship. Like that. Here we have the main cargo area of the ship. And you can also remove the roofs to the shipping containers as well. So on the bottom floor, we have all the storage for the ship. We have these little shelves with a lot of crates. We have this little forklift that used to be a part of the Dominant before, being driven around the cargo hold. A little Imperial symbol here on the crate. We've just got a lot of crates. We have a little protocol droid to keep the inventory of what the ship is actually carrying. Some of the crew members of the Dominant had to be transferred to work on the Dependable instead, since they had more of a logistic role. We have this little carrier here that I used in a MOC last year that carries missiles for the TIE bomber. I thought it would be cool to have this in the main hull of the ship here. We have these little warning lines on the floor that will have you keep away from the door. Here you can see the door again. If you push that out, you can open it fully like that, so that you can unload and offload the ship, like load it and offload it as much as you want to. Then we have these little doors that lead into the shipping containers. So as you can see here, a crew member, it just fuses seamlessly with the rest of the ship like this. And then one of the crew members here is inspecting some cargo inside of the container. And in this other container, I store my E-Web blasters for my ground components of the task force. I also have this little loading speeder that you can use with the TIE bombers. So it's being stored in these containers. And now we're gonna see if we can get these guys detached from the ship. It's actually a cool little feature. So once again, I'm gonna need both my hands for this. And like this. Okay, now guys, we have detached my shipping containers from the ship. So they're just attached with the ship using these Technic pins. And then they can also be their own standalone thing that you can use in your MOCs and whatever to have around your bases. So I thought that was a rather cool feature. And then you saw in the roof here, let me just lift it off again. You would of course leave this gap then that would have the vacuum of space sucking out all your equipment. So therefore you can just fold down these doors to close off the Dependable once you're done with the shipping containers. And then it can work alone without the containers being a slightly lighter cargo ship instead. So I thought that's a pretty cool feature, that you can have it be its own little thing, and then you can just attach these modules to it if you'd like to. So, a rather cool little feature of the ship. Let's see if I can get a nice filming angle to show you the main stairway to the second floor as well. We can fold up these panels to show you the stairway here that leads up to the second floor. It was hidden in the roof, and then it just folds up into the roof when you need to take off the top floor. But yeah, so here you can see the stairway being fully folded up like this on the ship. It will of course crash into the ground if you put it down like that, but it's a nice little detail I still wanted to have, so pretty happy with how that stairway turned out as well. So that is pretty much it with the details for the Dependable, and if you are patient enough to have stuck around, I have an announcement to make, and it is that this ship will actually have instructions. I have worked 40 plus hours just to bring you guys instructions for this ship, but yes, they will be out on my Rebrickable, so I'm going to link that down below for you guys to check out after the video. So I hope you enjoyed this year's capital ship, and if you did, do leave a like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.